Hello everyone. Today we are going to be making paper beads, the basic oval shape, which are like these. And what you're going to need is a magazine, Mod Podge, and I use this is matte finish. I use this for my art journal, so it just happens to be what I have on hand, so that's what I'm using. Pencil and an eraser, scissors, a ruler, a rolling bead roller, or a shish kebab skewer. I used to use a shish kebab skewer, and then I got this, and this works a lot better for me, but a shish kebab skewer works just fine. I have a bowl to put my Mod Podge in, toothpicks. This is nylon fishing thread. You can buy, it's monofilament, you can buy this, or you can buy nylon beading thread. And this and the toothpicks are to hang up the your beads when you're done for when they're drying. A bowl to put your beads in, and I already have some beads made, so they're just waiting to be glossed. And this is the gloss that I use. It's polyacrylic by Minwax, and this is a clear satin. There are different kinds that you can get. I think this canister was less than $20 at Walmart, and this will last me a very long time. So, all right. I got my notes over here so I don't forget anything. Alright, so what we're going to do first is we're going to take out a piece of our magazine. And I've already used this several times. This is a bigger magazine than normal, a normal size. This, it's not that much bigger, but a normal size would be about like this. See, so it's a little bit bigger. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take one paper to show you, and we're going to use magazine paper today. You can use any kind of paper. I have some scrapbook paper. This is a thin scrapbook paper, and it would be perfect to use for beads as well. But for right now, I'm just going to show you with the magazine paper because I want you to see how easy this is to do. And plus, if you mess up, it's magazines. You can throw it away. So, okay. So what we're going to do, and I'm sorry my my ruler is so dirty. I use it for everything. Like painting and everything. So what you're going to do is you're going to line up on the top of the page the ruler. So it's even with the top of the page. And you're going to, I'm left-handed, so how is this going to work? Okay. Did this last time too. I had my camera on the wrong side. Okay, so you're going to mark at 1 inch and at 2 inches and at 3 inches. Let's see if I can do this with my other hand. And at 4 inches. Wow, that's hard. 5 inches. 6 inches. Okay, 7, 8, 9, and 10. On the very last section right here, I put an X because it's not a full inch, so I don't use that piece. Then you're going to come down to the bottom, and I have my paper vertically. You can do it horizontally. I'm sorry, you can do it vertically. I have mine horizontally. If you do it vertically, you'll get less beads, but they'll be thicker. But I want more beads, so I'm going to do mine horizontally. And then, okay, so then you put the ruler down at the bottom of the paper. Doesn't really matter where, just as long as it's at the bottom and the top. This is not an exact science. It doesn't have to be exactly 1 inch. I mean, they're paper beads, so they're supposed to look a little bit handmade. So, and then you do the same thing. You mark 1 inch, 2 inches, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then an X at the end. Okay. These are going to be this size. If I can find one. They're going to be this size if I can show you. I don't have anything to show you. Let's see. Okay, here's a regular size eraser. And they're about that size. And so this is they're 1 inch. So if you want a 1/2 inch, you'll mark your paper every 1/2 inch instead of every inch. If you want them bigger, like 1 1/2, you mark it at 1 1/2. 2 inches, you mark 2, 4, 6, and so on. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, this is a little bit tricky. Once you get the hang of it, though, it's not. You have to put your ruler on one side, one mark. So decide whichever mark to put it on. So I'm going to put it on this side down here, and then you angle it into a triangle towards the bottom of the other side. Okay? Then you're going to turn your ruler and put it on this mark up on this side and angle it at the bottom down here and draw your line. Then you're going to hold this side and angle it down to this mark down here. And you see, I'm not being really exact. I mean, they're going to be about 1 inch, and when I cut them, they're going to be pretty even. Usually mine turn out pretty even when I do them this way. So then you're going to angle it from this one. You're going to angle the bottom, pull it like that, so that way it's a triangle facing that way. So it's basically, if you have the bigger side down here, then the next one is going to be the smaller side. So this is the smaller side down here. So I'm going to keep my my ruler on this side and move it this side. Okay, and I'm just going to do that all the way down the paper. Okay, now we have our paper, all the lines on our paper, and we're going to cut them out. You can use a big cutting board for this, or you can just cut them out with scissors like I'm doing. I used to use my cutting board all the time, but on the magazine paper, it's kind of, the magazine is really thin, the paper, so my cutting board tends to make the edges a little bit like, what's the word, a little bit not as straight as I like. They're like a little bit fuzzy from where it cuts it, but it's probably because I need a new blade in it. But so you just cut all of these out along the lines. Alright, now I have all my papers cut, all my magazine strips, and on the magazine strips there will be the lines from the pencil. And what I do is I erase mine because the magazine is so thin that I don't want it to show up. And on magazine paper, it's not really that important to erase all of them, but if you're using computer paper, if you put anything on it, sometimes it shows through. Like I use Sharpie markers on mine sometimes, and they show through. So you get the point about that. Just erase your lines, and then go on to the next step, and that's when we're going to start rolling the beads. So this is the bead roller, and I've got little things on all over the table. Okay. So this is the bead roller I'm going to be using. And when you're looking at your strip, if you want, for example, if you want this side on the outside, then that's going to be on the bottom when you roll. If you want this side to be facing outward to where you can see it, then you roll it like this. I don't really care because it's a magazine. I'm going to paint over it anyway. So with the roller, it's very easy to just stick the little thing in there and roll. With a shish kebab stick or skewer, you would do the same thing. Now I don't roll mine all the way up on the roller. I take it off because I have more control. If you see, I'll show you on a white one too, so you can see a little bit better. But I roll the rest of the way with my fingers, and I like them to be even in the middle. And if it goes to one side or the other, I can move it around and then pull it tight again, and it will be where I want it. So now we have this much done, and usually I just take a little bit of Mod Podge and put it all over the bottom. I put it down on a flat surface. You need something under it, like saran wrap or tinfoil or paper or something, and you just put it. This is about 1 inch, so it's about 2 inches. And then you pull it kind of tight, not really tight because you'll rip your paper, and then roll it up the rest of the way. You do not want to put glue on the whole strip when you're rolling, because then you won't be able to move it around. And if you can't move it around, then it would get uneven really fast, and once it's uneven, I mean, if you want it to look uneven, if you want it that way, then that's fine. But if you see here, it's a little bit uneven, and I can still push it down, pull it down a little bit, and see, and then it's more even. Because if I didn't adjust it while I was rolling it, it would be, see if well, it's not gonna let me do it because I pulled it tighter, but like, see, that is not how it's supposed to look. Unless you want it to look like that. That would be actually pretty cool on earrings like that. But I want it in the middle, so I'm going to push it back in the middle. And once you put dip it in the polyacrylic at the end, it will be to where it won't move around at all. Okay. Now I'm going to show you on this side so you can see, maybe see a little bit better. Little strip in the thing. If you don't have one of these, you just wrap your paper around your stick and roll it. I did it on the same side. Okay, and you just use your fingers. I'm sorry, my nail polish is a mess, guys. I haven't been out to do my nails. That's what happens when it snows here. Okay. So put that down on there and get your nail polish. Yeah, get your nail polish. Get your Mod Podge and just put your Mod Podge on. And you can use Elmer's glue for this, but I really like Mod Podge. I like the consistency of it. It's smooth and it's not too thick. And it lasts me a long time because I buy it in bulk. I've tried to use homemade Mod Podge before, and I used Elmer's glue with it, and it lasted and it worked okay, but I think I might have put a little too much water in it, because when I would put it on... Yes, my son just asked me if I was making a video. When I put the handmade Mod Podge on it, it kind of makes the paper a little bit too wet. Maybe it wasn't stirred up enough. I don't know, but I like the real Mod Podge. It's really not that expensive, considering it takes a lot to use up that big canister of it. So here what I'm doing is I'm just keeping rolling and pulling it. It's about 2 inches left. So I'm going to put some Mod Podge. Oops. And a good thing about this is if you let it go, you can grab it again because your finger's in the middle, and you can pull it again. Because you have your fingers on the side, you can pull it tight again. Unless it unravels completely, and then you can't. But which I've had happen numerous times. Anyone who rolls beads knows that when it unrolls, oh well, you just gotta suck it up and do it again. See, this one's kind of not in the middle, so I'm gonna move it over, and now it's in the middle. And you want to make sure, excuse me, you want to make sure that your paper strip at the end when you put the glue on it, you want to make sure that it's all the way down, like, because if you forget to put glue on the end, it will come up when you're putting it in the polyacrylic to seal it, and when it comes up, it doesn't look as neat, nice, and finished. So there's about 2 inches. So you'll see me when I put. You don't need a lot. You don't need a lot of Mod Podge. I'm putting too much right now, but I want you to be able to see it as it goes on. And you see how I put it on the very tip too. Okay, and then just roll it up. Okay, so where were we? We were tying. Okay, so you want to leave about an inch so you can tie the thread, and also so you can adjust the beads later on, because when they're drying, you'll let them dry for about half an hour, and then after, well, okay, then after they're dry for about half an hour, you take them and you separate them like this so they don't stick together. The next step, besides after you get the toothpicks tied on, is to get your polyacrylic, and I have a butter knife just for this that I use to open it. Alright, let me make sure you can see this. Let's put our polyacrylic here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to dip the beads in the polyacrylic, and they float. So you're going to take a toothpick and push the beads down into the polyacrylic so they're all covered. And here's the messy part. You're going to take your fingers and wrap your thumb and your index finger around and pull up. And see all that polyacrylic coming off? Again, wrap your finger around. Sorry, not pull up, pull down. Downward. Okay. So then these are going to drip. It's going to drip. So then you would hang these somewhere, and in a half an hour, whenever they're almost dry, or they're more set dry, you take it and you pull each one up like this. We'll just pretend they're dry and you pull them up, and then they don't stick together when they're completely dry. So I'm going to go hang these up. Well, I will do that in a second. First, I'm going to put away the polyacrylic. And that is it. When they're dry, you take them off. And if you want them really, really shiny, you can dip them a second time and do the same thing. They need to dry probably overnight, especially if you live in a humid area. But once they're dry, you can wipe them off with a wash rag. They're pretty durable, even though they're paper. You just can't get much water inside the bead. So that is that, and we'll pretend they're hanging up because I have my other spot to hang them up at. I wanted to tell you guys before I go about a couple new videos that we're going to be doing. I'm going to be doing a video on how to decorate these, and a couple other videos. There's going to be some exciting stuff coming up. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned from it. If you have any questions, if you're on YouTube, you can comment below. Or if you're watching this from our Ning community, which is paperbeadmakers.ning.com, you can comment below on the blog post. And thank you for watching, and have a great day.